Good afternoon and welcome to Raiders Belconnen, to the Kibax Oval for this Bloomers Lawyers Canberra Raiders Cup Round 7 clash. It's the Belconnen derby, the West Belconnen Warriors up against the Belconnen United Sharks, and as with all derbies, it really doesn't matter where these sides are positioned on the ladder, how their seasons have gone so far. When a derby is on, the sides actually always lift and promise a very exciting and entertaining game of footy, and I think this afternoon will be no exception. My name is Chris Coleman, and alongside me this afternoon is Sonny Singh. Sonny, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chris. Looking forward to this Battle of Belconnen match today.
Indeed, the fourth place West Belconnen Warriors up against the 8th placed Belconnen Sharks, but the West Belconnen Warriors in the middle of a bit of a logjam there. Let's find out who's playing this afternoon. Sonny, if you want to take care of the team list for the West Belconnen Warriors first.
Certainly. So Ryan McQueen lines up at fullback. Trent Vaughan and Andrew McDonald are on the wings. Riley Thomas and Brandon Withers in the centres. In the halves, Brent Crisp and Bobby Roberts. Up front, Dan Killick-Moran plays his first game for the season. Bailey Graham and Bailey Lockhead. In the second row, Kerisoma Sione, Tyler Peters and Tim Middleton round out the starting lineup. Off the bench, a couple of debutants for the season as well. Harry Brown, Kyle Danilchak, Ethan Peters and Destiny Kalolo round off the West Belconnen Warriors side.
Excellent. And who are you most looking forward to seeing out of that West Belconnen side?
I am very much looking forward to seeing Ryan McQueen run around again. I think he's been fantastic over the last couple of weeks. He did come off a hat-trick last week in their win over Goulburn Workers. But also their second rower in Kerisoma Sione. I think he's been one of the real highlights for them. At the start of 2019, he runs some very intelligent lines, and I think he takes a lot of pressure off his outside men. Both Riley Thomas and Andrew McDonald have got 6 tries between them, and that doesn't include Kerisoma's 4 tries himself.
Indeed. Now let's check out this Belconnen United Sharks side. We've been waiting for one of the interchange players, and I've been supplied with that name now. It's going to be a bit fun this afternoon. A few of these players I have not spotted before, or for a couple of seasons in some cases. For the Sharkies this afternoon, Mun Mapio is the fullback, Teva Meteora on one wing and Isaac Bell in the 5 jersey on the other. Joe Vajova and Tavita Aroha Twinavai are the centres. Ewan McCarroll at 5'8". Matt Woolnough is the halfback this afternoon. For the forwards, it's Brandon Nangaiti, Matt Butts and Sonny Tupuola across the front row. The second row, Lionel Sadler and Craig Finnerty. The lock forward for the Sharks this afternoon is Shannon McCaskill. Now, we've been waiting to find out who was going to be in the number 14 jersey. It is Supu Gavilipitiyage. I did say it was going to be a bit of fun here this afternoon, Sonny. I've not seen him play before, and apologies if I've mispronounced his name, but literally we've had that passed up to us in the last 2 minutes, so I don't have any other details on him. I don't recall his name from any stats sheets, and I know you've got a few stats around. You can dive in and see if you've got anything on him, Sonny. Rana Baker, Tyson Astle and Sam Mataora in the number 17 jersey, and yes, that's the same Sam Mataora who was a Cook Islands international, former player for the Canberra Raiders and the Newcastle Knights in the NRL. So coming off the bench for the Belconnen United Sharks this afternoon, his brother Teva Meteora will be out there on the wing. And it's a considerably different Belconnen United Sharks side from the last time I saw them. Also a considerably different Belconnen United Sharks side from last week when they actually did have a win over Yass, 18-6. It was the Sharks' first win since the 2017 season. But missing from last week are Cam McNamara, Aidan Agnew, Matt Morris, David Williams and Charlie Rogers. But the Sharks, they're certainly on the way up, Sonny.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, it was their first win since 2017, and you know they have been competitive this season. They had a close call against the Bush Rangers. They ended up losing that game by 2 points. So there's enough to suggest that that this Sharks team has definitely improved from last season.
There is, and that's a positive sign for them. They've had a couple of tough years, but they really do look to be on the way up, and looking forward to seeing them in action this afternoon. As mentioned, for the West Belconnen Warriors, they come into the side this afternoon's game sitting in 4th place, but they're one of 3 teams on 8 competition points. They have a 3-win, 2-loss record with 1 bye, and currently sit at plus 30 in their for and against. The Belconnen United Sharks, as you'd expect, with just 1 win and a bye from their first 6 weeks. They are struggling a little bit. They're minus 84 in their for and against, and have the 4 competition points. But they have had a couple of games where they've not been disgraced, but they've still gone down.
Yeah, you're right. If we look at the West Belconnen Warriors, their draw to start off the season, they probably have had the toughest run in going into this round 7 clash. You know, they've already played the Bushies, the Blues, the Roos, and the Bulls already, and they're coming off a big 38-22 win last week over Goulburn Workers, where they were 16-0 down midway through the first half. So we know attack's not a problem for this Warriors side. They currently average 35 points per game. When you've got the likes of Ryan McQueen, Brent Crisp, and Kerasomi Sione, as we mentioned before, there are definitely points in this side. It's their defence that has been a bit of an issue. They've got the worst defence in the current top 5, averaging about 29 points per game.
And that's a sign of hope for the Belconnen United Sharks side, who are able to run up points when they get the chance. Now, the conditions this afternoon as the Sharkies make their way out onto the ground, having heard the whistle blasts from referee Hushia Falah. The touch judges, by the way, Matthew Jones and Geordie Doherty. Conditions here this afternoon, it is a wee bit cool. 13 degrees on the thermometer, but with the wind, it's a north-northwesterly getting up to 30 kilometres an hour at times and averaging about 20 k's. So the apparent temperature, with about 6 degrees of wind chill in there, we feel like it's about a 7-degree afternoon here in the nation's capital. And so, for once, I'm very happy to be calling from behind glass in the commentary box, although we do have the window open because we are perched atop the Raiders Belconnen clubhouse here. It is, however, I think the best view, with the greatest of respect to all the other clubs around the place. I think it's the best view for a commentator here, and looking forward to calling this one this afternoon. The West Belconnen Warriors, though, Sonny, they'd go in as warm favourites this afternoon.
Yeah, you'd expect as much. I mean, I was going to say there you had everything but the pitch report from what you've given to our audience, but yes, you're right. I think West Belconnen do go into this as heavy favourites, particularly just off the back of their attacking arsenal that they have at their disposal. But, that they did let a couple of tries in through dummy half last week. I think there were two where they had the hooker just scoot out and score under the posts on both occasions. So, there are defensive gaps in this Warriors side, so there'll be opportunities for the Sharks to exploit.
It's okay, I'm over the pitch report, but it's okay. I haven't left the windows down on the Vitesse and there's no signs of rain. So we're just about set. The West Belconnen Warriors in the royal blue and light blue strip. The Belconnen United Sharks in the traditional Sharkies colours of pale blue, black and white. And it's the Warriors running to the left of your screen. They're running to the western end, or the southwestern end, I think it is, of the Kipax ground here. Referee is checking with his touch judges that all is okay. We've had the trainers getting, there's obviously something around there, that West Belconnen Warriors side. Not sure what it was, but it doesn't matter as Crisp kicks off and it goes all the way down into the shade where it can be a little bit hard to pick up at times. And Woolno has the first movement with the ball and he pops it off to a teammate. I think it might have been Tyson Astle who got in there first up. And if so, they've already been playing around and changing players off the bench. We'll keep an eye on that as they go across to the left now. This Belconnen United Sharks side. And already up outside their 20-metre line, so it's a good start for them. Big man Kerasomi Sione gets involved in the defensive line. You'll see a lot of him from the West Belconnen Warriors this afternoon. Now the Sharks, they're set up with plenty across the field as they give it to one of their forwards. And they're just short of the halfway line. Haven't seen a lot of these Sharks players. In fact, I don't think I've seen the Sharks since the middle of last year. Shannon McCaskill was the man who was on the ground there, and some interference in the play of the ball as he tries to get to his feet. And so the first penalty of the afternoon goes to the Sharks. They get it just short of halfway now. If they can take a good kick, and McCaskill takes the kick. And I tell you what, he's not mucking around. Where's he kicked that from? Inside his own half, and he's got a good 25 metres on that. So that's not a bad kick. They'll start a set right on the 30, the tap and go from McCarroll, and he just runs straight up and gets it onto the edge of the red zone now. So he's about 8 in from touch on the far side of the ground. They're again spread out across the field. They come across to Sam Mataora, and Mataora takes another 10 metres, so they're just about 12 metres short now. Now that's with Aroa Tuanavai. Cross through the hands to Woolno. Woolno then finding Craig Finnerty. And Finnerty, he's 5 metres out. So this is only the second tackle here. Good set here for the Belconnen United Sharks. Which way do they go? They go across to the left and give it to Aroa Tuanavai. He pushes and pushes. The former West Belconnen Warrior knows how to score tries at this ground, and he's only about a half a metre, if that, short of the try line. Into dummy half now comes Butts. Butts, long ball, and he gets it onto the chest of Woolno. Woolno turns it back around on the inside and finds Sonny Tupuola. And Tupuola, he's over the line. He's held up. He reaches around with his left and tries to get it down, but he can't get it down. And referee Hushia Falah has said held up. We'll come back to the 10-metre line. So that's probably a better result for the Warriors than for the Sharks at this stage of proceedings. But Tipawala now plays the ball, and again they go a longish ball to Woolno. Woolno with a little chipping grubber kick goes through. Mapio was the target for it, but he overran the ball, and the West Belconnen Warriors able to defuse that one, and they'll bring the ball back out, in fact, to the 20, so they may have they bring it out to the 10. So, but they've been able to defuse and get away with some early pressure from the Sharks.
Yeah, promising start from the Sharks, though. They worked their way into this game quite nicely. Got through their first set, did earn themselves a penalty. I think there's some positive signs there that Scott Logan will be pretty happy about.
Indeed. Now, the Warriors, if you're wondering what the pink socks are about, by the way, it's Ladies' Day here at the Raiders Belconnen Club, so plenty happening for the ladies in. Made it very hard to find a parking space this afternoon, Sonny. Don't know if you had any trouble, but there's plenty of people here this afternoon for special events inside the clubhouse. That was Dan Killick-Moran, big fan of him, the big number 8. Oh, dear, forward pass. Dan Moran doesn't look very happy with that at all. Bailey Graham comes in for a little bit of a conversation with him. But forward pass, so the Sharks are going to get the ball back here.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, they will get an opportunity here. It's been a bit of a trait for West Belconnen so far this season. They haven't gotten off to the fastest starts. As I mentioned last week, they did go 16-0 down to the attacking onslaught that is the Golden Workers Bulldogs. They did manage to get their way back into that game, but you know, you're not going to be able to come back in every game that you play if you give your opposition team too much of a head start.
As some teams in the NRL have found out across the course of this season. So for the Sharks now, that's Joe Vajova as he's up over the halfway line. In fact, makes another couple of metres after the tackle is made. So he's up and he'll play the ball on that red 40-metre line. So good starting point again. Ball on the outside, then back into Sam Mateora. He makes another 8. Largely working it up the middle of the park here, the Sharkies, as they give it to Tupawala, and Tupawala takes it up to the 20. So third tackle, middle of the 20-metre line, bit of push and shove, bit of after a tackle attention in the play the ball. McCaskill goes for a couple of steps, and then he finds Nangaiti. Brandon Nangaiti is now up to the 10, so they've got a couple of tackles. Can they get a repeat set here, or can they indeed score? They come across to the right, a couple of dummies thrown, wide ball goes out to Isaac Bell. Bell, he goes for the line, and he's just short. As you can see him right in the corner of the ground here. Kip Axon decides, the dummy half decides to burrow over, and that'll be a try. Early lead will go to the visiting side, the Belconnen United Sharks. They're on the board. I'm just trying to pick out who it was as the dummy half. I think it might have been Joe Vajova, the centre, and his third try for the season.
Yeah, good heads-up play there from Vajova. Saw an opportunity out of dummy half, got himself low to dive over, but just in the lead up to that try, they had some good shape there, the Sharks. It's probably some of the best shape I've seen from them all season, but they look good in attack. They had options either side, but they look to be dominating the ruck as well. The forwards really starting to get a roll on up through the middle.
They may have just caught the Warriors napping a little bit too. Quite often you see it with the play the ball, or especially on the last tackle there from over in the corner, you see the ball come a couple of long passes across towards the middle, and then the kick comes to try and generate a repeat set. So good, as you said, good heads-up play from Joe Vajova, the centre for Belconnen United, to just realise there was just enough room for it to get through and get low and get under. And in the end, it doesn't matter how you score them, get them on the board, and the points are there. 4-0 to the Belconnen United Sharks with just 5 minutes on the clock. And we wait for the conversion. I was wondering who was going to take the kicks this afternoon. He's the only player, as far as I'm aware, the only player with any goal kicking this season for the Sharks, and he has a grand total of 1 goal for the season, does Tavita Aroha Tuanavai. And we'll see what he's got here. As he comes in from about 2 metres in from touch. Not a bad looking kick, and it curves back as well, so it started off to the left and he gets the conversion. So he's 1 from 1 this afternoon, and it's now 6-0 to the Sharks over the Warriors with 6 minutes gone.
We'll let him keep goal kicking. If he can kick that well from the sideline.
So not the start that the Sharks, that the Warriors would have wanted here this afternoon. But as we said, you get these sides up against each other, and it's usually some fairly close football as the Sharks bring it out again. Pop it around the back to Finnerty, and Craig Finnerty just pins his ears back and straightens and gets the ball almost out to the 30. So they're really making some distance early in the tackle count. Shannon McCaskill takes it another 8. So 15 short of halfway. They've got an extra man over to the left, and they go that way now. That's with Tolo Aroha, or Tavita Aroha Tuanavai, if you like. And they're showing no fear about this West Belconnen defence at all at the moment, this Belconnen United Sharks side. Throwing the ball around a little bit, and they get it back to McCaskill, and now he's 5 metres up over halfway. Slow play the ball, maybe trying to milk a penalty there. It was never going to be coming. Would have been a forward pass if Butts had let go of that. I think he realised too and held on to it, and instead manages to creep forward another 10 metres, so they're just outside the 30. The kick will come from Woolno. He goes high. Isaac Bell coming up, charging onto it. Also in there was Finity in there, but in the end the ball is taken by the Warriors, who really have had very little possession at the moment, and even less of that outside their own half.
Yeah, what a fantastic set of 6 it was after points. You know, it was the right mix of enterprise and just simple football up through the middle. A bit of second phase play as we see a penalty for offside given, and does some of that hard work they've just put in.
A relieving penalty, I think we can call it that, even though we're only 8 minutes in. The Warriors will finally get a chance to show what they've got. As we wait to see what they can provide, and they give the ball off to Tyler Peters. 2 Peterses in the playing side this afternoon, and the coach is Adam Peters, their dad, so interesting afternoon for him this afternoon. So Peters taking his time to get to his feet there. McCaskill in the tackle, and there's got to be a penalty in there, and eventually it comes.
We've got Matt Woolno down in back play.
Well, that's disappointing. So, while Woolno's down, you keep an eye on him. I'll keep an eye on the conversation between Shannon McCaskill, the lock for the Belconnen United Sharks, and referee Hushar Thaler. Well, that conversation's over fairly quickly. Now, Woolno, I didn't see him go down. Did you see him go down?
I didn't. I thought it might have just been some heavy contact, but he's clutching at his right leg.
Well, he's grabbing at the hamstring, and now there's not sure exactly what they're trying to check at the moment is whether he can straighten his leg, whether he can bend his leg, or whether he can take any weight on it. And I think the answer to all 3 of those questions are possibly, probably, and maybe.
Well, he's going to carry on, but he's not walking all that freely.
I know that the Sharks have been a little bit depleted, so the tap comes for the Warriors, and that'll be the first tackle, and I reckon that might be Bailey Lockhead in there. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 Sharks players surrounding him, who finally just roll him over and lay him on his back, but with only 2 metres short. It was indeed Lockhead. Graham in a dummy half goes left and finds Roberts. Roberts then pops it back to Tim Middleton, and Tim Middleton looks to go towards the post, and he's, actually held back a couple of metres. That's the second. Running from dummy half is Bailey Graham, but the Belconnen United Sharks are awake to it. They're just going to hold him up in the in-goal area at this point. Good result for them, because it'll take the play back another 10 metres, and now we've got a whistle, as we're going to go back to the 10-metre line. It's a little bit stop-start this game at the moment, not really getting to any great heights. We're only 9 minutes in, though. Plenty of time for both sides to find another gear. Middleton gets the ball from the play of the ball and gives it there. I think that might be Dan Killick-Moran charging onto it. He's about 5 out. Was indeed. Now Graham again, long ball to the right, finds Crisp. Crisp then onto the big fella in Sione, and Sione, he's almost unstoppable. Sharkies did well to hang on to him and to stop him about 5 out. Long ball comes to Crisp, and Crisp, kicking game, always dangerous, goes across field. It's 2-on-1, and the Warriors, have they scored a try out of this? I think they might have. It's come off hands. It's been dived upon by Vaughan, waiting for the call from the touch judge to the referee. They're actually going to go more than just a call. They're going to go for a conversation, and they're actually out of our field of view here. It's the one problem we get at this ground, is that extreme corner is just obscured to us. And no try, he says. No try, says the referee. So I reckon it may have been a knock-on in the in-goal area from the Warriors, or
well, it's coming back under the post.
So it's been grounded first up by the Sharks in that case, and the line dropout will come.
Well, we saw a bit of football pinball when the kick went up, and I thought maybe there might have been a deflection of one of the Warriors players into the centre. The referee doesn't see it that way.
Chaos ball may pay a dividend yet for the Warriors, although Ryan McQueen allows the ball to bounce and Instead, it becomes the job of one of the forwards, and again, Dan Killick-Moran, his third hit up in as many moments there. As we see, well, that's got to be a forward pass there to Lockhead. Touch judge hasn't picked it up, so it'll be play on. He's on the 20-metre line. They'll go across to the right further again. Crisp has it. He has Sione on his outside, gets the ball to him. Perfect timing there for Sione. And he was then greeted by Sonny Tupuola. He's lost the ball in there, and there's a little knock-on in there as well. So now, this is what you always get in a derby too. You always get a little bit of a cuddle, a little bit of get to know each other, and we'll get reacquainted with each other. There's a few former West Belconnen Warriors players out there this afternoon for the Sharks. Mapio played for the Warriors back in, I think it was about 2016. Tavita Aroa Tunavai was with the Warriors last season. So there's a couple of players who've turned out for both sides there as we wait for the scrum to go down.
I think Brent Crisp is struggling a little bit in back play as well.
He doesn't look good, does he?
Clutching at his groin. Definitely favouring that right edge, the West Belconnen Warriors, and why wouldn't you when you've got Karasoma Sione on that right edge? They've hit him flat a couple of times. Interesting to see when they start to use him more as a decoy as the game goes on, because you've got him running at your line, expecting him to get the ball. You've pretty much got to have two men on him every time.
I'm just keeping an eye on Crisp there. I've got the binoculars on him. And yeah, you said he was clutching in his right groin there. It's interesting. It's his left hand he's reaching across and clutching with, so he's sort of lopsided a little bit out there at the moment. But he's back up and he'll be hovering around there to be a pest off the back of the scrum if he gets half a chance. We've had a considerable stoppage of play. 28.5 till the break here, and the Sharks with an early lead at the moment. Oh boy, that was fast. That was Withers coming up very, very quickly in the defensive line there. Now Finnerty taking another run for the Sharks. He's been busy early in proceedings. They've got plenty across to the left. Elect not really to go that far. They only just go with the one pass off the ruck. It might have been Matayora who had it. Now they come back across to the right. That's Tupuola. It's called for a penalty from the Warriors side. No dice, says the ref. And now Finnerty, his second involvement in this set. That's the last tackle. They're 5 metres into opposition territory, so the kick will come. Well, the kick won't come. They're going to go and throw it around all over the place. And, well, the backdoor pass not really working out as Riley Thomas saw it coming and was able to grab the ball, hand over on the 40-metre line, and the Sharks coughing up the ball unnecessarily, and the Warriors are away as they're up over halfway, courtesy of Bailey Lockhead. Only just a metre into opposition territory. Now it's with Trent Vaughan. Vaughan's still going, and he makes it up to the 40-metre stripe. Waiting for it at dummy half is Graham. Decides to run himself, turns it around on his outside to McQueen. McQueen didn't have too many options. Well tackled by Bell. They come across again now through Bobby Roberts, and Roberts, long ball to Chris. That's a beautiful pass, and then Chris able to drop it back on the inside onto the breadbasket of Riley Thomas, who's almost through the tackle of Brendan Nangaiti. Gee, there's been some good footy here. We've had the game going now. Roberts again. This time he goes for the kick over to the far corner. Chasing after it is Trent Vaughan, but it's been taken instead by, I reckon that's Mapio who's got it. I couldn't see him other than, I still can't see him. He's behind the drain pipe. It was Mapio. So he did well. There's plenty of contest for the ball. And now the Sharks have the task of getting it out from their own end. They haven't really been able to do much with the kicking game yet. This time of the afternoon, Sonny, at this ground, I don't know if you've watched much football at this ground. It's you want to really be kicking towards that the corner, the far corner on the right of screen. As the sun gets lower in the sky, it gets very, very difficult for players to pick up the ball here. But the Sharks really haven't been able to do that as yet. That for them is McCarroll. And really just starting to make some inroads into this West Belconnen Warriors defence early in the count.
Just on the kicking game, Chris, it's I don't know whether West Belconnen have done their homework during the week, but they seem to be targeting this left edge of the this right edge of the Sharks. They've definitely kicked in behind a couple times and found space.
That was Matayora with that kick, Sam Matayora. Now the ball's been picked up by Trent Vaughan, and a winger on winger, and winger on two wingers in fact. Oh no, winger and centre. There we go. So we had Trent Vaughan taking on Isaac Bell and Jova Jova. Almost sounds like a bit of poetry, doesn't it? You know, beat poetry, Joe Vajova. But
I'll tell you what, this was an unfortunate penalty against the Sharks because I think it was Craig Finnerty. I think he was fairly confident of pulling off this one-on-one strip, and that he had a little bit of help in the end. I don't think he needed it. I think he'd pretty much done all the hard work to strip the ball one-on-one, and the help in the tackle came late.
both sides going for big distance on their penalty kicks this afternoon. Free yardage, and tap taken by Graham, and he gives it to Tyler Peters, and already they're 15 metres into opposition territory, this West Belconnen Warriors side, who trail 6-0 on their home ground, 15 gone. Now on the run is Middleton, and Tim Middleton. He's right in the middle of the park, and that's the 20-metre line he's just about at. Not a bad place to be on your second tackle. Longish, slow pass to Roberts, then a faster ball to McQueen, and McQueen, he goes left, he goes right, goes left again, gets up over the 10. Woolno, one of the tacklers in there, so we saw him down with some sort of a leg query early in the game. We'll know, but he's back up and seems to be okay as the ball goes onto the chest of Tim Middleton, then rebounds away from the chest of Tim Middleton. Considerable knock on, and it'll be the Belconnen United Sharks coming up with the ball on their own 10-metre line. This game, at some stage, it might break out into a free-flowing game of football, Sonny, but so far there's been patches of brilliance and patches of what's the opposite of brilliance? Patches of non-brilliance?
I don't think there is an opposite of brilliance. Okay. Not that anything's coming to my head at the moment.
Can we find a thesaurus, please? Have we got one anywhere at the Raiders Belconnen Club?
Look, it hasn't quite clicked for West Belconnen inside the 20 as of yet. They do have players running in motion, but the Sharks seeming to read everything that's being thrown at them at the moment. And as we mentioned, defence is going to be a big key for them, and they did well to keep Yass out for as long as they did last week. But West Belconnen are a whole different challenge in themselves.
That's Mapio for the Sharks, and there's a penalty. The West Belconnen Warriors, we talk about combinations, and we talk about how Belconnen United had to make 5 changes from last week. For the West Belconnen Warriors, they've got 4 players who were not involved last week. In fact, 4 players on their first game for the season. Dan Killick, Moran, Harry Brown, Destiny Kalolo, their first game for the season. Ethan Peters, not just his first game for the season, his first game for the club. And I think there's one other change from last week as well, Sonny?
Yeah, Logan Reese is out from last week's team.
So that's both of these sides just a little bit disjointed, and perhaps the number of changes they've had to make contributing to that fact. Now that is Sonny Tupuola, and he takes it just short of the 20-metre line. And again, working it up the middle of the park, they've got McGaskill waiting. He takes it, pops it onto Woolno. Woolno then goes towards Finnerty, and Finnerty is 12 metres short of the line, so they like it down this right side at the moment, the Sharks. They continue to work it that way with Woolno. He steps back to the left, threatens to pass, hangs onto the ball, takes 3 of the Warriors to bring into the ground, although Lockett gets back behind the line quickly, so they've got another man in defence. Now it's with the big fella in Brandon Nangaiti. He's over the line and he's dived forward. He may have got down underneath there. This might be 10-0. It is 10-0. Hushafella puts the whistle to his lips, and well, we've had one to the backs and one to the forwards, and that's not a bad forwards try to Brandon Nangaiti.
That's come out of absolutely nothing as well.
2 in a row.
Yeah, 2 in a row. And look, I was going to mention before that play that neither side is really winning the ruck at the moment. Players are ending up on their stomach as opposed to their back, and it's resulting in quick play the balls for both sides. And as a result, I mean, something like that is just super simple. The forwards for both sides seem to be getting more of a roll than you'd expect, and on that occasion it's a simple run, 10 metres out, just strength and determination gets him over.
One thing you like to see from any side is when they use the ball from close range. When you get a set that starts 20 or 30 out, you really should be able to threaten with, say, the 4th and 5th tackle option. You shouldn't be waiting to that last tackle to go forward with it, and the Sharks have been able to just get enough when they've been down that end late in the tackle count to have a couple of options available to them. Just enough to put a question mark in the mind of the West Belconnen Warriors, and both times they've been able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, we mentioned at the start of the game that the Warriors are renowned slow starters, and there are some issues with their defensive line, and I don't think the game plan for the Sharks needs to be overly complicated today. I think you just need to get through your sets and you'll get your attacking opportunities on their line.
Well, the simpler conversion from Aroha Tunavai, and he manages to pop it over, well, I won't say over the black dot, for 2 reasons. One is there's no black dot on the post, the other it was just slightly to the left, but he's 2 from 2 this afternoon. And with 20 minutes gone, well, 19 minutes gone, it is 12-0 to the visitors, the Belconnen United Sharks. It'll be interesting to see how the Warriors respond, because They never like being behind, but more to the point, they never like being behind against their near neighbours.
They've got to start holding onto the ball, currently completing at 50%. 3 from 6 at the moment, and the Belconnen United Sharks are sitting at 7 from 9.
Possession makes a huge difference, as we've seen at all levels of rugby league across many years. As we'll know, he gets through the first tackle, and it's just a desperate attempt there from Withers, I think it might have been. No, it wasn't. It was Harry Brown actually making the secondary attempt to wrap him up. Now McCaskill on the second tackle, and they're already 10 metres short of the halfway line, so most impressive from this Sharks side. They really are working it very, very hard, and putting this West Belconnen Warriors side under a little bit more pressure than perhaps they're used to in defence. A couple of players calling for a penalty there for some interference in the play. The ball not coming as again it's through the hands. Aroha Tunavai, one of the players, as it winds up with the try scorer, and Nangaiti, and they're in opposition territory once again. Now the run from dummy half, that looks like Butts to me, who's about 35 short of the line. Last tackle is the call, and it comes back to Aroha Tunavai. Towering ball, waiting underneath it is the fullback for the Warriors in McQueen. Takes a step back and then, going backwards to go forwards. Not really going to work in too many sports as Affinity and Matayora come up and wrap him up in the tackle. And now is that Vaughan coming forward? I think it is.
Well, they were down to 12 in that set, West Belconnen. Bailey Lockhead, who was struggling, looked to come off second best from the kickoff, and he's only just now rejoined the attacking line, but he wasn't walking all that freely.
And they've also got, I think Bailey Graham's also come off. I'm just not sure whether it's an injury or a scheduled rotation for him, but so there'll be a change to the point of their attack as they cross the halfway line, the West Belconnen Warriors. And just look how fast this Sharks side are up in defence, with Butts and Tupuola getting in on the tackle on that one. Now the ball comes to Crisp, and he's on the 40 as the last tackle, so he decides to go high with a bomb that's going to bounce favourably for the Warriors for just a moment. But then the big fly comes from Sam Matayora, and he grabs hold of it. It's not Matayora, it's Aroha Tunavai rather, and he comes back from about 10 metres away from that one, flies and grabs it. I think that might be Vajova. It is trying to burst out of the tackle here. So this Sharks side, that's the other thing they're doing, and it makes the opposition tired. If you can stand in the tackles and not go to ground, it just makes the tacklers tire and gives you a huge advantage later in the game.
Has Tavita landed yet?
I think so. I'll just check with flight control as we see play continue now, about 15 short of the halfway line. The Sharkies side, that's Matayora, of the Teva Matayora. And now with Shannon McCaskill. Hasn't he been busy today?
Just have a look at the ruck speed. Every tackle, they've managed to land on their stomach and get a quick play the ball away.
It's amazing how much difference it makes and how many metres they're stealing out of this ground. That's the last tackle there, as that's Aroha Tunavai again. He's about 8 metres into opposition territory. Woolno comes forward for the kick and kicks to the corner. Kicks from mine to the wrong corner, although he's put a very awkward kick in. It's bounced a couple of times. It's been picked up there by Bell. Bell gets the offload, and it comes to Vajova. Vajova puts in a little kick, and now it's Crisp. Not Crisp, it's Withers who's got it. And he gets outside the 20, but great desperation there from a couple of the Sharks players, Bell and Finity, to wrap him up. Sharks showing good discipline, getting back on side here and back lined up. The Warriors under many other opposition would have been able to, against many other opposition, would have been away there. They would have played a couple of quick play the balls and tried to work the disjointed line, but the Sharks were back in shape very, very quickly. So the Warriors still inside their own 30. They cross that line now, courtesy of Kerasoma Sione. And he's a hard man to stop, and he takes another 12 metres, and he gets to about 8 short of the halfway. I think that's the 4th tackle. Just waiting for the confirmation on that. Well, it'll come after this one from the referee, as Lockhead takes it just short of halfway, and that is indeed the 5th. So this will be the kick to come from Crisp as he kicks almost the centre of the park, and a very large black bird's just flown straight in front of me here as we go back into play. The ball was spun around in the air. There's quite a breeze at high level. It's been caught there by Bobby Roberts, and Roberts puts in a supplementary kick. Vaughan chasing after it, but he allows Mapio to pick it up. Now Mapio gets around past one, and then he's just collared and goes to ground about 15 short of halfway, right on the right wing in front of the grandstand here at Raiders Kipbacks, as the ball's picked up off the ground by Finity in the play. The ball, he's 8 short of halfway. Really working some amazing speed here. Once again, it's McCaskill. He's about my man of the match so far. Gets through the first, and he's almost through the second. And he's about 8 metres over the halfway line now. It's with Butts at dummy half. He's got options to the left and to the right. He goes across to the left, gives it to Woolno. Woolno able to go for a run this time. Doesn't make too many metres forward, but he's stretched the play across to the left. They've got an extra man to the left. Now the Warriors have manned up again. Aroha Tunavai decides to go for a little grubber kick, and maybe, just maybe, the Sharks need to get a little bit of a breather. I suspect the Warriors need to get a little bit of a breather. It'll be a scrum on the 10-metre line. Boy, what a game we've got so far.
Wow, take a breath, Chris.
I'll try.
That was a fantastic passage of football the last couple of minutes. It's been plenty of ball movement, plenty of width spread. And I think what you've just seen there is a good sign from the Sharks just to put a ball out of play, get themselves a chance to take a breather, make the Warriors work themselves out from the 10-metre line. But it's been a bit of everything so far in this first half. It's been very impressed with how the Sharks have turned up to play.
How much difference do you reckon that win for the Belconnen United Sharks last week's made? That must have made a massive difference for them across the course of, just over the past 7 days. A real mood of confidence around their clubhouse at the moment as we see them leading 12-0. And it's not just the 12 that's important, the nothing's important too. 25 minutes and they haven't allowed West Belconnen to score as yet. But the Warriors, you can't discount them. We've seen that on plenty of occasions. They can turn nothing into something in a very short period of time. And now they're 15 metres short of halfway as we pick up with live action. Once again, be a longish ball to the right, you'd imagine. And that would be Lockhead, and he's just short of halfway. Again, they're struggling. Now he's picked up the tackler, and he's lost the ball forward in the process. So, well, that was unnecessary. Now it's going to be on. Here we go. The push and shove's on. Lockhead and Butts going toe-to-toe. Bit of push and shove. I don't think there was anything actually approaching a punch thrown in there, but certainly plenty of push and shove. And the referee blows the whistle, stops the clock. 14 and 15 remaining till the break.
I think any derby day that doesn't have at least 3 push and shoves is considered a dull derby.
It's been a cracker so far. And just think we've still got, 54 minutes of this still to go. Loving it. Bloomers Lawyers Canberra Raiders Cup Round 7 action for you on Bar TV. And good afternoon to all our friends at Bar TV. Good afternoon to all the team at Bloomers Lawyers as well. Great to have you on board as major sponsors of the Canberra Raiders Cup for 2019.
And you just wonder how much of what we've just seen is from frustration. As you mentioned, we're 26 minutes into
95% of it,
we're 26 minutes into this game, and this is a game that West Belconnen you'd expect to win, and with no disrespect to the Sharks, but win comfortably. And they're currently 12-0 down after 26 minutes, and the Sharks are here to play.
Well, here we go. So we've got Brent Crisp, he's the captain for the West Belconnen Warriors out there in the number 6 jersey. You've got Shannon McCaskill in the 13 jersey from Belconnen United. And you've got referee Hush Falar just laying down the law. Laying down the law at some length too, by the sounds of it.
I think I said it last year about Shannon McCaskill when I called a game with him. He is Paul Gallen through and through. Not just in stature, but the way he plays.
Crispy's not happy. You can tell when Brent Crisp's not happy. The hands go out. It's almost as though I'm being crucified out here. Seen it plenty of times in the past, but he doesn't look like a happy man. But I think in the end we're just going to come down for a scrum. Nothing else is going to happen other than the players have been told, look, let's just settle this down. It's been a good game so far.
Yeah, the feed will go to the Sharks, so as we mentioned, so it's all the frustration creeping into the game of the Warriors. And it's only going to get worse the longer the Sharks can keep them out.
What happens if the Sharks score next? Okay, you'd have a set play or two up your mind here, wouldn't you? For a midfield scrum, you'd have a couple of things that you've tried from time to time. So let's see where they go with it. They give it to the big fella, one of the big fellas. They've got a few big men out there, and Tavita Aroha Tunavai, he just charges and charges. And what do you reckon he made 13, 14 metres there, and I reckon half of them were after he'd been tackled.
It's not a bad set play just to give him the ball.
Well, that's true. Probably worse options there. Is that runner Baker now out there? It is. So that was Baker. Now McCaskill again. They come across. Aroha Tunavai to Napio. Mapio, he's bounced under the tackle. You don't see that too often. Bounced down, hit the ground, came back up and got inside the 20. So they're in this range again where they've scored both their tries from. Through the hands to Aroha Tunavai and then Nangaiti. They're directly in front of the posts. Quick play the ball. Running in was Butts. Butts then popped it over to that Woolno. It is Woolno. And he almost got enough momentum and then, oh dear. I reckon he's been hurt in that tackle and hurt. He's made some noise there as he's gone down because the referee stopped playing, called the trainer on very, very quickly. Gee, I hope that's not him I can hear leaking through on the microphone. Can you hear that, son?
Yeah, I can. Hopefully it isn't. He did get turned very awkwardly as he got closer to the try line. Does sound like he's in a lot of pain.
Oh, that's tragic. He was... Well, you can see where he is. That's the try line he's lying on, the goal line he's lying on. And the only thing that I think would have been in his mind was, I'm about to score and put my side 16-0 up, and he's gone down awkwardly in the tackle. There's no malice about it. It was just awkward that multiple players in. It's just rugby league, unfortunately. But sometimes you get that happen. 3 players in a tackle and the player with the ball still trying to go forward. And, oh, gee, you don't like to see that happen at all.
He's had a fantastic start to this game as well. He's been very busy in that number 7 jersey. He's chosen his moments well, when to run.
Had that injury worry a few minutes ago, but it seemed to be moving okay. But I suspect that this might be the last we see of him, because you don't often see a player getting this kind of treatment on the ground and then get up and play again, although Latrell Mitchell did it for the Roosters a couple of weeks ago up at Lang Park against the Raiders. But you don't see it often. And good to see a couple of the West Belconnen players have gone over to just check on him and make sure that he's all right, or offer a word of encouragement. So a pause in this game with the Sharks leading 12-0 and deep in attack.
Yeah, spare a thought for Matt Woolnough. Played at hooker last week, and that's what a lot of these Sharkies players end up doing. They are all very versatile, end up playing a multiple number of positions during the season where they're needed.
Well, I've seen Butts play before, and I don't think I've seen him play in the forwards before. I think I've only seen him play in the backs, but today's lining up at hooker. So
they go where they're needed.
Yeah, they're a club that have been through some pretty tough times, but they have great club spirit, and I know. Have you called it O'Connor yet? Have you called a home game for them
Not
at
yet.
O'Connor
No,
Oval
not
yet?
yet.
It's a flashback for commentators to call it at O'Connor. You are quite literally at the card table on the sideline. It is very different, but the atmosphere is tremendous at those games. And this is tragic for this club, for Belconnen United. They've only just got enough players, really, for a first grade and a reserve grade side with everyone available. Their reserve grade playing coach, I believe, was out suspended at the moment, so they were one short in reserve grade today. So let's just hope that this is not a long-term injury from Woolnough. He's sort of walking off, but well, that's disappointing. Let's hope that he's okay. But play returns now as Runner Baker, the man who's tasked with trying to get the ball to the line, and he's a couple of metres short. Referee says it's the last tackle. Which way do they go? They come across to McCaskill. Then the kick comes back to Aroha Tuanavai. And, well, there's no way through for the West Belconnen Warriors side on the rebound. And the Sharks, well, they just need to make sure at this point that they don't drop their bundle, they don't drop their heads. And they bear in mind that they've got a 12-point lead, but, well, being up inside the 10 there as Tim Middleton tries to bring the ball out. And now the quick penalty taken by Crisp. This is one thing the Warriors will do. They'll sense that there's a chance here. There's a little bit of blood in the water, so to speak. And so they'll be looking to take quick advantage of this. A couple of passes to the left, and there was a whole heap of Sharks players who were offside here, but instead they went the other way and went to Sione, who just works as a battering ram and runs straight up. And now a hold of the ankle and the play of the ball. So the Sharks, they're just rattled at the moment. I'm not sure whether they're trying to slow things down or whether they just can't quite get their heads together as the task once again goes to Sione, and Sione just pushes and gets the ball up to the 10-metre line. So a big defensive effort required from the Sharks here as Crisp goes for a run across field, finds Roberts. Roberts on the outside to McQueen. McQueen gets out of the first tackle as he's brought down on the 20-metre line. The 10-metre line. So they've gone a lot sideways and not too far forward. That's Kyle Danilchak. And Danilchak is only a couple of metres short. They've got options. They come back. Probably went the wrong option, coming back to Crisp because there were players moving at speed and Crisp was almost stationary, and they've got the ball to him. He's about 5 metres out, so they're not breaching this Belconnen United Sharks line just yet. And the ball's been dropped in there, waiting for the touch judge or the referee to make a ruling, and it's been ruled as dropped and lost forward, and Brent Crisp is furious. He is absolutely livid with that decision.
Yeah, I think he just was a loose carry on that occasion from him. I mean, that's courageous defence on the goal line there from the Sharks. It didn't look like being breached out wide. They numbered up well. Thought maybe there were a couple opportunities there for a quick dart out of dummy half when the defence was separated, but Brent Crisp on that occasion not able to get the ball out wide to the right-hand side. They did have numbers. Again, good scramble defence from the Sharks on that occasion. And again, the Warriors go away empty-handed.
It was a really, really odd decision to pop the ball to Crisp on that play, because they certainly had Bailey Lockhead on the fly. He was going at speed, and I'm not sure who else was there. There was another forward going through there, but obviously I was keeping an eye on the ball to where it was going, and it went to Chris. I just thought it was interesting to put the ball to him in like a secondary line of attack. Anyway, play continues, and the Sharks bring it out, and I think that may be Teva Mateora who had the responsibility of bringing it out. And now they give it to Joe Vajova, and Vajova is up over the 20-metre line. Again, just hanging onto the ball through a good set here would be a very good option for the Sharks. That's Baker. That's the 30 that he's on. This guy hasn't had a bad game either, Craig Finnerty, has he?
He's had a very good first half. Been very impressive on this right edge.
That's McCaskill, turns it around. Runs it to Sam Mateora, onto Aroha Tunavai. Sadler was in there as well, I think, and now it's gone across to Teva Mateora, and they're over the halfway line. Ball comes back to Sadler. They've worked it all the way to the left. Now they work it across to the right. Sam Mateora goes for a little bit of a chip kick of his own. Diving catch by Tyler Peters, and he takes it about 32 out from his own line before he goes to ground. What have we got? 9.5 till the break here, and the West Belconnen Warriors side, they haven't scored. In fact, I don't think it's unfair to say they really haven't looked like scoring yet.
They haven't, but that was the wrong option there from Sammy Mateora. I don't think it was last tackle. And they had them split down either side. A bit of second phase play, causing some issues for the Warriors. But on that occasion, Sam Mateora comes up with a big shot on that occasion.
Donald check the man who received it, but he's okay, and he gets up, and now we see charging through his Lockhead. You see Sharks side, they're just starting to look a little bit tired. They're struggling to get back to 10. They've got to last another 9 minutes before the break with this 12-point lead. Roberts, long ball to McQueen. Oh, numbers on the outside here. That's Withers. Withers, he finds Vaughan, and Vaughan, oh, he's been smashed. He's been smashed into touch, I think. It's very hard for me to see. I'm just going from the crowd reaction. Oh, he has been, and I reckon it was Mapiu who did the bulk of the damage there. Well, I'll tell you what, try and say that this game means nothing. Don't even think about it. The Belconnen United Sharks, they might be 8th place. They might be a good 4 points outside the finals berths here, but they are really taking it up to one of the big guns in the Canberra Raiders Cup.
Now, it's not the first time they've displayed tremendous scramble defence when they've needed to. On that occasion, it looked like the West Belconnen Warriors were going to go out to this left side. They created the overlap. It was a beautiful pass from Bobby Roberts. And from there, you thought overlap, it should just be simple enough to at least score in the corner, but fantastic scramble defence from the Sharks.
Well, Trent Vaughan's up. He's been over. He's asked if anyone got the number of the truck that hit him, because he was absolutely belted into touch there. That was tremendous defence. 7 minutes 45 remaining here. And Sam Mateora moving in to feed the scrum in the absence of Matt Woolnough. And the Sharks give it to Vajova.
I've got to say, I think half-time needs to come quickly for the Sharks, because they are starting to show a lot of signs of fatigue, particularly in defence. Gap's starting to open up.
If they score again, I can guarantee they'll feel no fatigue whatsoever. We've got 2 men out there with headbands on now. That one's Tyson Astle. So he's just come in off the bench. There's another one of their big boys in Rana Baker. They don't have to do anything fancy at this point, the Sharks. They've just got to play some simple footy, and here's a man who'll do that. He'll do it for you all day long. Shannon McCaskill gets it up over the halfway line, and that's the last tackle. So the ball, it comes back once again to Aroha Tunavai, sends it high in the sky. That's the corner to kick to, with the sun getting lower in the sky as McQueen goes down. I don't think he's lost the ball. The Sharks have come up with it. They're 11 metres out. The Warriors are all offside. There's plenty of them offside the ball. It goes to Butts, and Butts, he takes advantage of the Warriors being offside, and he scores at 16-0 to the visitors. Have we got a big boil over on the way here at Kipax this afternoon?
What a series of events again. It was just a wonderful kick from Tevita Aroha. He forces the error. I was questioning before who was going to take over at halfback when Matt Woolnough went off, but he stood up, he puts a good towering bomb up. And from there, it's just another good heads-up play from Matt Butts. Sees the opportunity and goes his own.
Well, it just shows you've got to just put the pressure on. I said kicking to that corner, that far corner, the corner on the far side on the right-hand side of your screen, as the sun gets lower in the sky. And after this kick, we'll see if our camera operator can just pan across, and you'll see where the shadows have gotten to. You'll realise just how low the sun is in the sky here. It's very difficult to be picking up because you're staring into the sun in that corner of the field, and it's very, very difficult. And well, it was McQueen, I think, who was underneath it, but he wouldn't. He really had the choice to try and pick out the ball out of the sun or pick out the oncoming train out of the sun, and well, he did the right thing. He picked out the ball, but unfortunately wasn't really able to brace for the impact, and the ball jarring free. And from there, Matt Butts, Johnny on the spot.
And again, it's just, the enthusiasm of the chase. I think there were 3 Sharks players towering over Ryan McQueen as he took that ball. As you mentioned, the impact dislodges the ball, and from there, Matty Butts sees the opportunity. We could have an 18-0 scoreline here.
Well, if you're trying to go from 16 to 18-0, that's about where you want to be doing the conversion from, directly in front. And boy, oh boy, we are going to be in for a cracking second half here.
Well, we know the Warriors have got points in them. I don't think there's ever really going to be a point in this game where we count them out altogether.
So how much impact, how much difference will that 4-pointer have on the Sharks' attitude going in towards half-time? We said they were looking a little bit tired. Well, there's 2 things. One is they've had 90 seconds rest. The other is that they've now got another 4 points on them. It may just be enough to give them a lift to shut their opponents out for the second half of this game. McCaskill is the man in there. I was impressed, by the way, at how Mappia came through and took the ball from the restart there too, because it hung in the air for a very, very, very long time. Now that is Baker, and Baker, he's got a good grip on the ball. 3 Warriors in there trying to take it from him, but lashes out a little bit in the tackle there, but he's just trying to get to his feet. Now going forward is Astle, and Astle is 5 short of the halfway line. 3.5 till the break. It's the last tackle. They'll kick for the corner eventually as it goes across 2 passes to Tunava. They don't go for the corner. They go again for this elevated kick. It bounces. Oh, it doesn't bounce. It's actually been kicked forward by Butts. And is that another knock on? Oh, dearie me. It is all going horribly, horribly wrong for this home side this afternoon.
It's one of those awkward midfield bombs that just lands in between the fullback and the rest of the defensive line, and it takes a wicked bounce. And on this occasion, the Sharks get a foot to it before it touches anything else, and then the knock on from the West Belconnen Warriors, but just no luck going their way at the moment, the Warriors.
Well, the Sharks will want to score off this. They'll really want points off this now. There's nothing more important than points just before or just after half-time, but they can score here. They'll go in 4 tries up.
Well, I wonder if they're thinking field goal at any point in this set as well.
I hope not. I hope not. Unless it's the very last play before half-time, I don't want to see him going for that. I don't like that. I've seen it come unstuck on too many sides over the time. That was Astle taking the ball forward. Now with the run from dummy half is Butts. So he's 8 metres out. They're in front of the post. They've got an extra man across to the right at the moment, and they come that way to Astle. Turns around, gives it to Sam Matayora. Matayora just straightens, and he takes 1, 2, 3 of the Warriors with him. He tries to get the ball down, but he's held up, referee says so. So we'll come back to the 10-metre line. Matayora was trying very hard to say, no, I wasn't over the line. I was half a metre short. I'll play it there. Thank you very much. But he's sent back to the 10. Come across to the left with Finnerty. Finnerty still going. Grown an extra leg, some of these Sharks players this afternoon. Can they generate an extra set here, or do they... Oh, he's fast as the fullback is Mappio off the kick of the Aroha Tunavai, but nowhere near fast enough. He'd have to be Buzz Lightyear to get that kind of speed, and doesn't quite make it there. So it'll be a 7-tackle set coming for the Warriors. They've got 107 seconds till the break.
Yeah, just a fraction heavy, that kick from Tavita.
Ethan Peters on his debut for the West Belconnen Warriors with that run, and now it's with Andrew McDonald as they get to 40 metres. So that was the 0 tackle. This is the first. And now Tim Middleton. Middleton spins around out of the first tackle and gets up to about 5 metres into opposition territory. 80 seconds remaining. They go for the big fella in Sione, and Sione's over the 40, up towards the 30. Now he's brought to ground.
They were down to 12 for a couple of tackles in that set as well. So one of the Sharks players came off injured. I think it was Craig Finnerty.
Roberts now. He finds Tyler Peters, and Tyler Peters takes the tackle. He's 25 out from the line. Into the last minute of the half. Can the Warriors get on the board? Roberts has it. Takes it in his left hand, comes back to his right, puts the ball high in the air, and it's taken in the field of play by Mappier, who then goes into the in goal and then back into the field of play. And you would think here, barring a disaster, oh, geez, chancy stuff from the Sharks. You'd think here, barring a disaster, they'll hold their opponent scoreless for the first half. 35 seconds to go. They don't really need to do anything silly here. You don't need to try and go 100 metres and score at this point. You've got a 3-try break. Simple play the ball, slow play the ball, as he takes a lot of time to get to his feet. McCaskill, he just runs with it from dummy half. 15 seconds till the break. They could probably kick it into touch now and they'd be okay. Ethan Peters lying on top of McCaskill. And that'll do it. McCaskill, as he plays the ball, and there we go, the gentlest of kicks into touch. I don't care who you are or how much you know about the game of rugby league. I would find it very hard to take your word, even if you were swearing on a stack of Bibles a mile high, if you'd said to me at halftime this game was going to be the Belconnen United Sharks 18 over the West Belconnen Warriors duck egg.
Well, that's come out of nothing. I mean, coming here today, I did not expect that sort of first half that the Sharks have just put forward. That was a fantastic set of half of football from them, and you know, they didn't do anything, you know, extravagant.
You don't have to play flashy football.
It was simple football. I mean, you look at the tries that they scored, a couple out of dummy half, and I mentioned in the pre-game preview that the Warriors conceded a couple out of dummy half last week. So whether that's intentional or just playing what you see in front of you, it's well done from the Sharks. But you know, they've completed 15 of 18 sets, whereas the West Belconnen Warriors have completed 6 from 13, so they're not even at 50%. But the opportunities that they have had on the Sharks' goal line, they haven't looked all that threatening.
Well, let's just recap what we've seen so far today, and I'll come back to the scoring plays in a moment, because I think the other key for this game is Matt Woolnough, the injured Belconnen United Sharks halfback, and I just hope that he is okay. I doubt very much that we'll see much of him for the remainder of this afternoon, but I just do hope that he is okay, because he was really putting a lot together and driving his team forward and directing them around the park well. But what we've seen so far today was, in the opening 5 minutes, a really disjointed game, and then suddenly from out of nowhere, it was the Sharkies who scored early. It was a try in the corner. It was Vajova who went over, just ran over from dummy half, saw there was the smallest of gaps, dived in underneath and planted the ball over the stripe in the corner on this near side. All the 3 tries have been converted, by the way. Well done to Vita Aroha Turnavai for managing to do that today. But that was the first try. Then it was about 13 minutes later that it was Nangaiti who got the next one. That was about 5 metres to the right of the post. And it was just that real forwards try. He just took it and just bustled his way over. And then 15 minutes further down the track, 7 before half time, it was the bomb, the Tavita Aroha Tuanavai bomb that went over, and I'm pretty sure it was McQueen. Apologies if I'm going against the wrong player there, but I'm pretty sure it was McQueen who tried to get it, and he was just monstered. It was absolutely cut down. And Matt Butts was the man who was able to pick it up there about 11 metres out, couple of steps, dived in and scored the easiest of tries under the posts. And bang, 18-0 with 7 minutes before the break, and that's the score at this half-time break. It is the visitors, the Belconnen United Sharks 18, leading the West Belconnen Warriors no score. We do know that West Belconnen have plenty of points in them. We have, however, seen this Belconnen United Sharks, after a couple of shaky weeks early in the season, tighten up. They only conceded 1 try against Yass last week, so fascinating second half in prospect.
Absolutely, and their big men are all doing the job. As we mentioned before, that they're dominating in the ruck, they're falling on their stomach, getting quick play the balls away, and it's just causing all sorts of havoc for West Belconnen. Very interested to see how the second half unfolds. Well,
we'll have it all for you on Bar TV as this Sunday afternoon game in the Bloomers Lawyers Canberra Raiders Cup continues. But at the break, it's Belconnen United 18 leading West Belconnen no score here here at Kippax. one of the glorious things about sport is you never know quite what you're going to get. And quite often you'll see something you've not seen before or not seen for quite some time. I can't recall the last time I saw two football teams out there ready to restart with the referee and the touch judges still back in the shed, Sonny Singh.
Yeah, they're on time. Just as keen to see this game get back underway as we are.
Well, we're in for a belter this afternoon. Let your friends know about this one. This could be something to watch here. An upset is brewing as the visiting Belconnen United Sharks in 8th on the competition table up against the West Belconnen Warriors lead by 18 points to nothing, and the Warriors get the first use of the ball in the second half and they give it to Kerasoma Sione. He takes it up outside the 20. The key for the Sharks here, it's going to sound like Captain Obvious, but the key for the Sharks here is going to be defend, 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 and don't do anything silly in attack. Tupuola, the prime tackler on that second tackle as the Warriors now go forward through Middleton, and Middleton on the third tackle. He's about 12 metres short of the halfway line. Now it's Roberts, long ball, and he finds actually it was a shorter ball. I thought it was a long ball. Wound up with Peters, and Peters crosses the halfway line. Comes back to Bobby Roberts again. Who's he got on his outside? That's Middleton, and Middleton doesn't make too much further, so they're just over the 40, and here comes the last tackle. What's the option? Well, it's with Roberts, and Roberts kicks for the corner. Did mention about that corner there, but well taken by Isaac Bell in the headgear, and that now you can see what I'm talking about with that corner, Sonny, and how difficult it is at this time of day to be fielding the ball if the kick comes, especially a lower trajectory kick. The Sharks bring it forward through Mapio, and he's now 20 out from his own line. They've got a couple of players set. That's Mateora, Teva Mateora. He takes it to the 30. And they've just got to make sure they hang on to the ball. Charging forward with it is Astle. 15 short of halfway. The question you had during the break, Sonny, and I don't think I'm telling tales out of school here, but with the absence of Matt Woolnough, their halfback, is what is the kicking game going to entail for the Belconnen United Sharks? And we may find out in just a moment. Slow play the ball across to the left, and it comes to Aroha Twinavai, and his kick may actually find touch. It does. Bounces a couple of times there. He got a little bit of attention there from Brent Crisp as well after the kick. But yeah, the kicking game is going to be interesting here because, we saw it again there. Really what it's devolved to now in the absence of Woolnough is two passes to the left of the ruck, and the kick comes from Aroha Twinavai. They need to have something else where they can get the ball to the right on the last tackle sometime. Yeah,
you're right. We've seen he's been a little bit hit and miss with his kicking game so far. He struck a couple that have been very nice, that one in particular, and then a couple, I remember a grubber that went dead. So he can be a bit hit and miss with his kicking game, but it's going to be an important facet of the second half if the Sharks are going to go on with this.
Well, they won't mind that one because it's wound up taking another 30 or 40 seconds off the clock for the scrum to get set. And the other thing is it means that the Warriors are still well and truly in their own end of the field. That's the second tackle for them, and they're about 20 short of halfway. Might go the short side. They've got the big fella Sione there, and they give it to him. He bounces out of the first tackle, and Ewan McCarroll is able to come in and do the secondary job on it. But the referee's got the whistle in the mouth. And Aroha Twinavai, I think the man who's given away the penalty.
A penalty for a forearm or a shoulder charge on that occasion.
Well, they've made some distance here, so they mean business, this Warriors side. I suspect they would have copped the roasting from their coach Adam Peters during the break. It'll be keen for them to get some points off this one as they start to set 25 out. And Kerasoma Sione has it, BJ. He's 15 out. Across to the left they go, and that's Middleton. Middleton doesn't pass either. Gets them perfectly centred, so they're right in front of the uprights. Dummy half is Brown. Long ball finds Roberts. Roberts back on the inside. I think that might be Ethan Peters. He's crawling towards the line and almost got in. Done a good job to hold him out. They try and run from dummy half. Is he offside there, Tupuola? No. Referee says all is okay. He was just up very quickly, and that looks like another player's down hurt. That's Harry Brown, it was, from dummy half. He's very gingerly getting to his feet. They've lost the momentum they had. Roberts wasn't quite sure what he was going to do with it. Instead, he gave, in the end, a kick.
What a take.
Well taken by Teva Mateora because there are West Belconnen players all over the place there, all around him. Plenty of pressure on him as Mapio. They try and force him back into the young goal area, but he stays in the field of play. A bit of help from his teammate. It's almost rugby union style there, wasn't it? And that's the second, and they're still at their own end of the park and still in their own 10. I think that's Sam Mataora, and they're still inside their own 10 on the third. West Belconnen are going to be up and in very, very quickly. Every single tackle at this time. They're going to try and force a mistake, force some pressure onto this Sharks side.
Well, they're important runs, those last two hit-ups from the Sharks.
They've made 20 on the last two there. Very slow on the play of the ball. That was a good little run there from Astle. Now the kick this time goes almost straight down the middle of the field. It's allowed to bounce a couple of times before it's picked up off the turf by McDonald. McDonald takes it over the 20, up to the 30, and making the tackle, Teva Mataora and Sadler. Lionel Sadler, 15 short of the halfway line, and that's good work from Sadler there to just grab hold of the runner and hold him up. And then in over the top comes Astle off the bench, the forward there, Astle. And did well to secure Vaughan as well. Is that Dan Killick-Moran just over the halfway line earning the penalty? I think it might be.
Yeah, just a bit of extra work from Sam Mataora over the top.
Oh boy, well, plenty of pressure on this Sharks side to start the second half. They've withstood one raid from close quarters. Now they've got to do it again. Maybe the second one in 6 minutes. We did say that the Sharks were looking tired about 10 before half time. They scored a try, 5 out from the break, which gave them a lift. But the pressure, West Belconnen, they're just going to keep applying it and applying it. And that's Withers. They're spread out right the way across the park here. Roberts puts it on to Middleton. Middleton could have gone on his outside to Peters. Ethan Peters, and I think there was a gap potentially for him, but Middleton held on to it. Back they go to the left. Roberts again takes the ball high over his head, gets a late pass away, and that's been put down there by Tyler Peters this time. So the Sharks breathe again. 6.5 minutes gone in this second half. And you've got to wonder how long will it be before the scoreboard pressure isn't the only thing, whether it's the clock starts to put some pressure on the home side as well.
Well, it's good up and in defence on this occasion from the Sharks. Saw a potential opportunity to the left-hand side, but the defensive line, they moved up together. It wasn't a pass that went away, that wasn't under pressure, and in the end, that's what causes the mistake. We'll see another couple of Sharks struggling to get back to their feet, back to their positions. A couple of bumps and bruises by the end of 80 minutes here today, Chris.
More than likely. Clock's been stopped here, by the way. 33:03 remaining. You can probably see that in the background. We don't have a view to the monitor, by the way, so we're sort of guessing what's in the shot, but I'd reckon that's probably right behind the scrum for you. Sharks to feed the scrum. What have they got? They're all in fairly close, so I reckon it'll be running it, I was going to say, either up the middle or going the blind side, and they've gone the blind side. I think that's Vajova.
It's a great play.
It was Vajova, and they're 15 short of halfway for the first tackle. Now it's Astle. He's been good since he came on.
It was a gutsy play from the Sharks just to try that little short side off the scrum play after they struggled to get out of their half in the previous set.
This guy's been good for him as well. Teva Mataora makes plenty of metres and then he gets the penalty. Well, stop-start football to commence the second half. It was stop-start football to commence the first half. And now McCaskill takes the penalty. Doesn't steal too many metres. Doesn't need to, really. And they'll be starting a set 25 out. So, what have they got? Butts gives it to McCaskill, and McCaskill straightens over the 20 and brought down 15 out from the line. Now it's Astle. Takes it to the 10. Works it in towards the posts. We may start seeing some field goals early here. Might be a good way to actually just relieve some pressure and get the ball back. Baker turns around, gives it to Aroha Tuanavai. Aroha Tuanavai, oh, he's still going, and he's 5'4", 2 metres out now. Just to the left of the uprights. It's Big Tolo. They've got players charging in all sorts of directions, and Sonny Tupuola's one of them. He's got the ball.
I think it's stripped out. The referee sees it the same way.
Come back to the 10-metre line.
My question to you, Chris, is when do you consider that a try-scoring opportunity? You're allowed to strip the ball if it's more than one-on-one in a try-scoring opportunity.
What, was he over the stripe?
He was very close. Very, very close.
If he was over the stripe, then I would consider that a try-scoring opportunity. Now, if you've got the penalty here, you're silly not to take the 2 at this point. It's a 3-try game.
Yeah,
It's a 3 converted try game. You take the 2 here. It's now 3 tries plus a penalty, so it means that the Warriors have got to score 4 tries effectively to overhaul you, as opposed to 3 tries and a field goal. So it just makes that a little bit harder. There's the psychological pressure, and also it's a good 90 seconds off the clock.
Well, don't forget that they're also missing their starting halfback. So points may come at a premium for the Sharks for the rest of this game. They'll take the points, whatever they can get at the moment, but it's quite unusual to see. In first grade, penalty shots taken at goal. Canberra Raiders Cup first grade, that is.
True. Well, 18-0. And the man who prior to today had only kicked 1 goal for the season, Tavita Aroha Tuanavai, he's 3 from 3. Make it 4 from 4 and make it 20-0. I know there was a wager before this game. I don't think I'm going to let too many cats out of the bag, but I know there was a wager between a West Belconnen fan and a Belconnen United fan over the combined points difference between across the reserve grade and the first grade game.
Yeah, one of them is definitely looking to cash out early, I think.
I think the one who took the West Belconnen side would need to see about 3 points a minute scored from here for that to eventuate and for him to get a payout. Now,
error off the kickoff.
Well, that went backwards for mine off McCaskill's hands.
Wondering if it was just the final regather where he did dive to take it, maybe.
But the referee's come back to where the point of the initial contact was made.
It's not what you want after points.
No.
It was an awkward-looking kickoff.
It's almost automatic these days, where in rugby league we're almost seeing the NFL fumble rule applied more often than the actual rugby league knock-on rule. It's a little bit disappointing. They've gone around the outside here. That's McQueen. McQueen turns it on to McDonald. McDonald comes inside, then back on the outside. Sharks defence scrambles across field and wraps him up, but that's the first tackle and they're only a couple of metres out. McQueen into dummy half, comes back to Crisp. Crisp gives it to Sione, and Sione, well, he wasn't at speed, so Sharks can count their blessings on that. Brown in a dummy half, Harry Brown, long ball, he finds Ethan Peters, and Ethan Peters looks to go for the line. Going straight under the posts. Brought to ground, slow play the ball. Sharks have got themselves set. Warriors had a couple of dummy runners. Long ball to Roberts. Roberts onto McQueen. McQueen comes back on the inside. They've got Tyler Peters offside in there. Best option for the Warriors is to give themselves up in the attack this time, and they do so. Now coming in is Ethan Peters. It's Harry Brown at dummy half, and he's a metre short. Last tackle, more good defence from this Sharks side. How much more have they got? Roberts kicks across field. Crisp flies. May have got a hand on it and knocked it on. I reckon he has. He has. Referee's called the knock on there. So despite Sione getting a hand on the ball and grounding it, first time that we've seen the Warriors get over the line today, the knock on will mean the ball will come back to the Sharks, and being on the last tackle, that should just be a handover. But a little bit more push and shove. I think that's your pre-game forecast for the Derby of 3 bits of push and shove for the afternoon, Sonny.
I think we've met our quota, but yeah, as you mentioned, Chris, that's fantastic goal line defence from the Sharks. They just keep turning up. The Warriors are going side to side. There's not a lot of opportunity either edge. I'm going to start to ask the question where the points are going to come from. Who is it in this Warriors team that's going to spark something? I think Bobby Roberts has looked more likely in the halves. They haven't seemed to call a lot of Ryan McQueen today. They've limited his opportunities to a minimum.
And the Sharks bring it out again. I've been reflecting while you were talking there, Sonny, on the question I put before about when does the clock start to become a factor. I've long held a theory in rugby league that once the number of points you're chasing is larger than the number of minutes remaining on the clock, that's when it starts to play with your head.
Well, I think it's a little more than that as well for today, because it's not like the Warriors haven't had their opportunities in attack. They've had plenty of shots at the Sharks goal line, and maybe in previous seasons it would have buckled well and truly earlier, but at the moment they're just playing a very controlled style of football. There's another good touch finder.
Tell you what, for a makeshift kicker, he's had a pretty good day today, has Tavita Aroha Tuanavai. I just mentioned that because, well, it's now 26 minutes remaining and 20 points the difference. If the Sharks can score next, it will really start to do things mentally to the West Belconnen Warriors. But the Warriors are going to get the ball with a scrum feed 22 out from their own line. It's an interesting conversation to have as the referee calls time off and orders a water carrier from the field. When do you start to think that it's game over in different sports? Well, let's leave that for people to think about and maybe discuss at their leisure later on.
Good shot.
Oh, wow. Sam Mataora just launched himself into Trent Vaughan and flattened him on the first tackle. The Sharks know that they're in with a massive chance here now.
Well, he's involved in that tackle as well. You just see the lift and enthusiasm from this Sharks lineup. They're really out there playing for one another.
That's the third. They're 5 short of the halfway line. Comes across now to Middleton. Middleton turns around, finds Crisp. Crisp looks at Sione, hangs onto the ball himself, bounces out of the tackle, runs around behind his own man, pops it back now to Thomas. Riley Thomas. Riley Thomas goes left, then straightens, but he's 10 metres into opposition territory. He's been pushed back 5 metres, lost the ball. It's come free, lost backwards, says the referee. Picked up off the ground by McQueen. I didn't see him signal 6 again. McQueen then cut down. And it's that man again, Sam Mataora. The former Cook Islands international. Now across to the left they go. Roberts, he's given the ball to Peters. Tyler Peters is only going to get around one, and then doing so he's slowed himself down and he's brought down 8 metres, 5 metres from the line. Very, very slow to his feet. Referee calling everyone back behind the stripe for the Sharks. Now they go across to Roberts. Roberts turns around. There's a man on his inside. May have been better to have continued the ball across the field. Last tackle, says the referee. Brown across to McQueen. McQueen, he gets it to Withers. And Withers, I think he's got it down okay. Referee checks with his touch judges. And it's taken 56 minutes. But they're finally on the board. Courtesy of Brandon Withers, his 3rd try for the season. And it is 20 points to 4. The West Belconnen Warriors trailing the Belconnen United Sharks. We may just be in for a grandstand finish.
The try goes to Brandon Withers, but put this down to some good hole running from Tyler Peters. I think Bobby Roberts puts him through. As you mentioned, he failed to step the fullback, but he did enough to get a quick play of the ball away, and from there, a bit of momentum for the Warriors. I think he had Sam Mataora, who was struggling for the Sharks in back play. He was walking back into the defensive line, and he happened to be on that right edge for them as the ball went that way for the Withers try, and why not just put them out of place a little bit. But it's a good heads-up play from the Warriors, and definitely something they needed. We asked where the points were going to come from. Bobby Roberts comes up with the money play, and Brandon Withers finishes it.
They've taken a bit of time to find the treasure map and where X marks the spots, and Brandon Withers, the man who does the job. I think we can even say it was really the sustained possession that did the job for them, as Chris makes the conversion, and so it's 20 points to 6, 14 points the margin, 23 minutes remaining. They buy themselves a little bit more time, the Warriors. The Sharks can't afford to drop their heads.
They can't, and as we mentioned, it's been a very courageous effort from them. As we mentioned, they've lost their starting halfback, and I think a lot of them are carrying a couple injuries, not just into this game, but during. It's going to be a big effort in this last 23 minutes.
Brandon Nangaiti's just come back on. I think he's replaced Tyson Astor. The kickoff comes from Mapio. That's interesting. And now, well, they'll look to capitalise here, this West Belconnen Warriors side. They're very capable of scoring on repeat sets. They've done it on many, many occasions. They're not perhaps quite as sharp at this point of the 2019 season as they have been in past years. Asking for a penalty there, very slow getting up was Nangaiti. He can't use fatigue as an excuse either. He's only just come back on. He's had a considerable rest. And now Tupuola likewise slow to get off Tim Middleton. They come around to the right, and Crisp kicks from just on the 40, sends it across field. Oh, that's a great take, running take, full tilt over his shoulder from Isaac Bell. Can we sign him up for the Canberra Cavalry? That's a good baseball outfielder's catch. And he got that one about 30 metres out from his own line. Now there's a little bit of disorganisation there from the Warriors line, and it's Jova scored the first try of the day. And he makes it up over the halfway line, and just one more step and he might have been away. Interference in the play the ball. Nothing doing, says the referee. Now Mapio gets involved. He hasn't had a lot to do in attack today. He's been very much a defensive fullback, Mapio, but when he gets there, he's an excitement machine. Now it's with Baker. Baker up to the 30, inside the 30. They're right in the middle of the park. They've got the extra man across to the right, but I think I've just seen a little bit of a sneaky look to the left from Butts. No, he goes across to the right now. And that's Nangaiti. Through the hands McCaskill, been about the busiest man for the Sharks today. He's 20 out. Coming across to the left. The kick is high in the air. It's going to come down on the 10. It's been taken by McCarroll. Ball goes on the ground. I'm wondering whether that's had players touch it from both sides. It has, and it's been ruled as a knock-on by the Sharks first. A little bit of a fumble fest going on, but the Sharks won't mind. The Warriors will be a little bit annoyed, but the Sharks won't mind. It'll milk another 40 seconds or so off the clock.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of justice for the Warriors there. I think there was a break made earlier in that set. There might have been an obstruction from, I think it was Shannon McCaskill. The Warriors off the hook.
The Warriors were very quick with the play the ball. They gave it via Sione, and now that's with Riley Thomas. 15 short of the halfway line. Give it to Lockhead, and Lockhead gets out of the first tackle, but good secondary defence there from Sadler just to slow him down, and then Butts completes the job. They're into opposition territory across to the left, though, waiting for Roberts. It wasn't Roberts, it was Killick Moran who got it. I think he hasn't had as much of the possession today as I was expecting. It is only his first game for the season, so maybe he's still getting used to, reacquainted to the pace of first-grade footy. Ball goes on the outside, little kick comes through, and Mapio decides to just send it dead. Sends it dead in the over the in-goal area. I just wanted to see what the referee signalled in there.
Got a penalty. Just trying to see. I think one of the players might be for an escort.
And the ball's going to come back to the Warriors.
It was a beautiful pass. Not sure if it was Crisp or Roberts that threw the cutout pass in the end, but hit the winger, smack on the chest.
So the Warriors, having scored just a couple of minutes ago, at 5 back, they start a set from 10 out, and that's Tyler Peters. Gets them 5 metres short, maybe even 4. Got a lot of numbers to the right. They come to Roberts. Roberts puts a short ball to Cololo. Destiny Cololo, one of the best names in rugby league, and he's out there. Can he fulfil his destiny of leading his side to a victory this afternoon? 3 metres short. Plays the ball. Oh, very ordinary, although there may have been some interference in there. There was some interference, and now there's a player going to the bin. Tupuola was just getting in the way during the play of the ball. Shannon McCaskill's not happy. He's asking the referee about it. Referee fella says, no.
Look, I sympathise a little bit with him because I think the ball might have been played off the mark.
No matter where it's played from, you still can't get in the way of it, Sonny. You can't interfere with the play of the ball. So now it's a 12-man Shark side for the next, well, it'll be until 8 minutes 40 remaining on the clock because the clock's rather conveniently stopped, so we'll be able to keep an eye on that. This will work. If the Sharks can withhold this set, they'll be doing very, very well. That was Lockhead. Long ball. Roberts takes it over his head, goes on his outside to McQueen. McQueen juggles it and he's cut down on the 10-metre line. That's 2 tackles. Slow play the ball. Back to Roberts. Arching ball to him. Holds it up, goes for Cololo, and Cololo just tries to charge towards the line. Sharks are going to be very careful not to overcommit too many players to the tackle here. Warriors looking for the gap in the line. Roberts, he's almost generated it. I think he may have generated it. Is it Peters who's gone down with the ball? I think it was. I think it was Tyler Peters. I'm going to give it to him. And now it's 20 points to 10. Kick to come. 17 minutes 40 remaining on the clock.
Yeah, weight of possession in favour of the Warriors on that occasion. Take advantage of the one-man overlap. They were unlucky not to score in a couple plays early. It was a good tackle by the centre from the Sharks. On this occasion, they find the gap. And we've definitely got a game on our hands now.
Well, what you saw there was a side doing exactly what you have to do when you've got a one-man advantage. With the Sharks having a man in the bin, the Warriors just worked the ball left and right until they were able to find the gap. And once the gap opened up and it was there in front of Tyler Peters, he could dive through and score. And we do have the grandstand finish coming up. 17 minutes remaining. And with the Brent Crisp conversion successful, it's now 20-12, so an 8-point game. Who are you on, Sonny?
I think the Warriors will come home with a wet sail. It was 16 and a half still to play. Just think about the injuries and the fatigue that looks like it's starting to kick in. I think the Warriors have got more points in them.
What they really needed was a really deep kick-off, and they didn't get it. With the ball going to Sione. Warriors' first tackle is 25 out, and then McDonald only runs sideways, so that one really plays into the Sharks' hand. Butts is making a pest of himself in the tackle, isn't he? Really working it hard now. Killick Moran. He's still going and still going, pushing men backwards. That's the third tackle. They're just short of the halfway line. Across to the left with Roberts, and Roberts turns it around now. He finds a Lockhead. Lockhead 11 metres into Sharks territory. They've got the extra number on that side. Very clever to play the blind side. I think that's McQueen over there who's got it. And they're going to come back across. Here comes Roberts again, calling for it. They go high. Who's underneath it? Well, Aroha Tunavai is one of them. Crisp, in fact, is the man who taps the ball backwards and is picked up off the ground by Aroha Tunavai. If he can push off one more time, he'll be off to the races. He gets an out to the 40, and he's 5 metres short of halfway. Well, he's close to man of the match so far this afternoon, but he's got himself hurt here.
Well, I tell you what, that was a very important attempted tackle from Riley Thomas. He couldn't bring him down on his own, but he did enough to slow him down. Otherwise, he was in open pasture.
Really resisted, and is it high hamstring, or is it higher than that? Is it above the hip? Essentially, the right hip is what he's grabbing at there. Tavita Aroha Tunavai. He's had a very good game this afternoon, having to take on extra responsibility.
Well, he reacted quickest to the Brent Crisp bat back off the Bobby Roberts kick.
And that's no mean feat either, because if I, again going from memory here, but I think it was Sione who was the man who was, the ball was being batted back towards, and he's not the kind of guy you want to get in the way of. Well, he's up. Doesn't look terribly comfortable down there, but he's up.
You got four trainers tending to the Sharks boys, and you had 3 tending to the West Belconnen guys.
Shannon McCaskill, he's had a massive workload today, and you get the feeling now that may increase for the next 15 minutes as Brandon Nangayati takes the ball within the 40s, dropped that. Referee spotted it. I think the referee got a call from the 2 official touch judges and about the 400 unofficial touch judges watching on this side of the ground here in the open area. Great viewing areas, by the way, in this club as well. If you don't want to watch footy from outdoors, you can sit or park yourself at a table indoors, not far from a bar, and watch from behind glass. One of the best clubs around. I think it picked up an award not too long ago as well, the Raiders Belconnen Club. Great place to watch football from. Great place to watch Raiders games from too, by the way. They've got the big screens here. 14 remaining, and that's Withers. He's got a try already this afternoon. 14 minutes to go, 8 points the difference. And that's the first tackle. They give it now to Lockhead, and Lockhead over the halfway line, so that's the second.
No fullback for the Sharks at the moment.
For Kalolo. Crisp in there. Or is it Killick Moran? It's Killick Moran. Out of Roberts. There's Crisp. Crispy waits. Probably should have offloaded. He did have Sione waiting for it, and there was space available. That's a flat pass coming from Brown onto Kalolo. Kalolo ducks into, then out of a tackle, and then bounces out of another one, and then bounces out of a third. Couple of metres in from the goalpost. Last tackle is the call from the referee. Brown, long ball to Roberts, and Roberts puts the kick that's very, very deep. Way too deep. That's probably the worst kick I've seen from Bobby Roberts in quite some time. The Sharks will get the ball back. They will take an eternity to bring this ball back to the 20. Normally you see sides when they get the 7 tackle set from their own 20. You see them race the ball out, trying to catch the opposition napping. They're going to take as long as they possibly can. It's made it back to Finnerty. Finnerty then pops the ball across to Butts, and away they go again. Bear in mind, they've got to try and milk as much out of the clock as they can too, because they've got another 4 minutes to go playing a man short. with Tipuola in the sin bin.
Just on that Bobby Roberts kick, he actually had the right idea. He managed to step back on the inside, but it is difficult to put that Cooper Cronk-like kick into the corner. Unfortunately for him, it's just too heavy and too deep. Did have an unmarked winger out there.
Craig Finnerty for the Sharks, taking it up over halfway. And he stole half a metre and the referee sent him back. I don't think that's the first time we've seen a player do that today. It's the first time we've seen it called back.
Won't be the last either.
McCaskill. He's still hanging on to the ball. Now there's two in the tackle. And the referee had called held. A little bit of comedy ball going on. 12 minutes remaining. Nangaiti for the Sharks.
He's been strong. He's been very strong for them today.
The forwards have done a lot of work today. Now it's back to Aroa Tunavai. Well, he's got the bomb. Midfield bomb. It hovers and it's taken by a flying winger. McDonald it was. Andrew McDonald takes it just outside his own 20. And a little bit of a run to the side from Thomas. He gets through, tries to catch the Belconnen United marker, not square. Matthew Butts gives him a bit of a roly-poly. That's the second tackle. Vaughan straightens and runs. He's over the 40. Runs straight at McCaskill. Not sure if that's the best option. Backed up by Nangaiti, making it even more uncomfortable. Vaughan finally set down on the halfway line. That's the third. Crisp into dummy half. Goes to Kololo. Kololo, pretty ordinary ball to Roberts. Roberts, I was going to say, did well to hang on to it. Lost it in there.
6 to go.
6 again, was it? So a helping hand as the ball comes free. We've got a full set of 6 to go from midfield. Ball comes back to Killick Moran, and Moran 15 metres into opposition territory. Waiting there is Lockhead. He had time to get to speed, gets out of the first tackle, turns around, gives it to Crisp. Crisp can give it to Sione. Sione takes the ball in the air, he pushes off one, pushes off a second, and I don't believe that he's been shouldered to the ground by Mapio, but he has been. That was Little and Large, and Little comes up writ large and wins. Now Brown goes to Crisp. Crisp, he's chasing up over the 10, pops it out the back door, finds McQueen. McQueen then gives it to Brown. Brown's brought down by Mapio. What defence from this Shark side. Now across to the left goes Crisp. He looks back on his right, he sees Middleton. Middleton charges for the line.
The forward pass.
I think the call's come from the touchy for the forward pass. It has come from the touchy for the forward pass.
Wow.
Oh, what a game we've got here. We've got 10 minutes remaining, 8 points the difference. We've got a side that have won one game since 2017, and that win was last week up against a side who are perennial finalists and multiple champions. But right now it's the underdog doing it all.
Just some of the bravery shown in defence there from the Sharks. Their fullback comes up with 2 critical tackles. One in particular on Sione.
I just didn't believe that I'd seen that.
And then he backs it up on the inside.
That's a great tackle.
Plays.
Potentially a game-saving tackle there from Mapio.
I was going to say the Sharks they're defending stoutly, but they're not doing themselves many favours with the penalties and errors they're giving. They're giving the Warriors opportunity after opportunity. You see a push from the scrum now.
What have you got by way of penalty count, by the way, Sonny, while we wait to see the Sharks bring it out?
Well, the Sharks have conceded 8 in this game compared to 5 to the Warriors. So they've been ill-disciplined this second half. They've had 4 already in this second half.
We're into the last 10 minutes. Now picking up and running with it is Finnerty. How far will he go? Up over the 30.
Well, this is an interesting call because it was 1-on-1, but I think the ref might deem this to have already been called held. Brent Crisp not happy about it.
He's blowing up Deluxe. I don't know, I'm still yet to see in any sport a referee or an umpire change their mind just because a player that the penalty's gone against blows up Deluxe.
That doesn't do you any favours, and now we got back chats. We'll go another 10 metres.
Well, the Sharks won't care about this. They'll take 10 seconds to walk 10 metres. They're going to they're Brown's cows. They're going to go slowly.
They smell a win.
They do. So, McCaskill, not a bad penalty kick either, hey? Not a bad touch finder. So they'll start on the 30 with 8.5 remaining and an 8-point lead. So they're about to get to that favourable point in the equation. Butts gives it to Vajova, and Vajova, he's away, and he's 25 out. That's the first. They're spread out right across the park. They're back to their full complement. Aroha Twinavai has it. And he just goes and he goes, and he's now 12 short of the line. Little run from the dummy half. Turn it around, and then they find Nangaiti, and Nangaiti is now 4 metres short of the line. They're in front of the post. They score a try here, it's game over. They'll be done. But gives it to Tupuola. He's rested courtesy of 10 minutes in the sin bin, but he's been held up.
You just heard the stadium take a collective breath as he charged over the try line.
He had nothing but the thought of redeeming himself for his time off with a try. Would have been, I'd suspect, the match sealer.
Your smart teams will play the rest of the game down here, Chris. Doesn't matter if you don't score. Ball's a repeat set, put it in the corner.
Exactly. Aroha Twinavai kicks early. The ball trickles and trickles and trickles. And now, was there a tap out required from McDonald? No, there wasn't. So it'll come back out to the 20. I don't think that was the right option. I think they still had another couple of tackles in the count there. But 7.5 remaining, 8 points the difference.
Kick from the 20.
And the kick from the 20 goes a long way downfield, but it's not going to find touch. So Bell can pick it up inside touch, and that's the 30-metre line that he's on, and he goes for the voluntary tackle.
Well, is that a panic play? Kicking from the 20 with 7 to play?
Oh, it was something
It's
different.
offside there, surely.
Well, nope, the offside hasn't been called because I think the knock-on may have come before the offside. Had an impact on the play. Is that a thing, Sonny? Or
I think the knock-on's caused because he sees a player rushing at him at 100 miles an hour.
Oh, potentially. I'll tell you what else I'm just seeing. I'm seeing a couple of the Sharks players starting to stretch out from cramp. Mapio, one of them. He's way over on this side of the ground. I suspect he wanted to get a bit of a break, a bit of a breather. Clock's been stopped. And there's someone down on the other side of the scrum. In the hands of a trainer.
Yeah, he dropped the ball and got absolutely cleaned up by the Warriors' defence. 6 minutes 55 to go, and you'd think that probably need to score in this set or in the next couple of sets where they're down here on their line.
Well, the Sharks need 2 tries in 7 minutes. It's not impossible. You can score 2 tries in 3 minutes. You can score 3 tries in 5 minutes. Less said about that, the better. But with 7 minutes remaining, or just a tick under, this is pivotal. This set here, this is really important. How many more big defensive efforts have the Sharks got left in them? Well, Crisp has it. He turns around and he bounces off Mapio, turns around, gives it to McQueen. Oh, wow! That was Tevi Mataora just came in. Big hit. And now Withers takes it. Just outside the 20. Brown into dummy half. Gives it to Middleton. Middleton 15 out. Left or right? Which way? They go left. Give it to Roberts.
Great tackle down low. Had to be made. It's Mataora.
It's Tyler Peters, the man who was tackled. Now it's Lockhead, and Lockhead looking to go through to the line. 3 Sharks on him. They chop him down. Last tackle. Comes back to Roberts. Now to Crisp. Can they generate a repeat set? Kick goes into the in-goal area, and they can... Oh, they should have let that roll. Should have let that roll. He heard the footsteps, and he knows he's made a blue. He heard the footsteps behind him. At 5:47 left on the clock.
Yeah, you're right. Just needed an extra bounce or two, and I think he had the time. Safety option first, and we'll wind down another 40 seconds or so on the clock.
We can quite comfortably say here the Sharks have not found themselves in this position for a very long time. So they're taking as much time as they can as the clock continues to run. It's McCaskill with the line dropout. How far can he go with it? That's a sign of a tired player. He's only gone 40 metres on the fly with it. Crisp just takes it and straightens and runs. So they're on the 20. Across to the left with Destiny Kololo. Kololo inside the 10. It's McCaskill, and Butts bringing him down.
Well, what do you do here, Chris?
No, you keep... Well,
he's got a player in front.
You don't take the 2. You need 8. You know, draws... Well, you could try and play for the draw, I suppose.
This
if
is
you're the
why.
English cricket team, they go across to the overlap on the other side. He's going to be held up, in fact, pushed back into the field of Trey.
Maybe stripped? No, just held.
Still in the hands of the West Belconnen Warriors, but they can spread it right across the field, they'll score. They don't. They go for the run-around play to Lockhead, and Lockhead's cut down there. Was the wrong option. They had two-man overlap over on this side. They just needed to work it across the park. Now it's with Roberts. Roberts still going. Finds Crisp. Crisp, he can't put it to anyone. He keeps going himself. And he finally passes to McQueen. McQueen, oh, he only just held onto it, but he's been set upon by three of the Sharks players. Just outside the 10. Last chance saloon, I think, here for the Warriors. They give it to Kalolo, and he gives it away, and it's been picked up by McCaskill, I think, and he gets outside the 20. 4 minutes remaining. A good set here from the Sharks, and they can put this one on ice.
How many times today have we seen the Warriors able to create an overlap on the outside, only for the scramble defence from the Sharks to make it come to nothing?
This has been a fantastic game of football. Doesn't matter from a neutral standpoint, it has been an absolute cracker. It's one of the reasons I love calling the Canberra Raiders Cup, Sonny. I don't have any allegiance to any side. It's just great fun to watch some good footy. This man's had a blinder this afternoon, as Shannon McCaskill. He won't show up on the try-scoring sheet. He won't show up on the point-scoring sheet, but his impact measured in a lot more than points on the board. This guy's had a good game as well when he's been out there as Brandon Nangates. Hard to find a Sharks player who hasn't had a good game this afternoon.
And they've all been courageous. All been very brave and courageous in this game.
I don't know who's going to get man of the match. It might have to be this bloke, though. Tavita Aroha Tuinavai puts the kick through. It's been picked up by Sadler. He's looking to offload. McDonald, I think, getting enough of his body in the way. So this is the last tackle. Aroha Tuinavai sends the ball high over towards Jova. Jova, it bounces back. It's picked up off the ground by Sam Mataora. It's still play on. It's been called touched.
6 to go.
6 again. That'll be the game. The Sharks have only got to hang on to it. There's 2:45. They can't possibly give up 2 tries from this position. We're in for a massive upset. It's been a weekend of upsets in rugby league all over the country. It's going to continue in Canberra this afternoon. Sonny Tupuola, 2 metres out. They don't need to score again. They just need to hold on to the ball. I wonder if they can do it. Butts to Mataora, to McCaskill. McCaskill steps left, steps right, brought to ground. Butts comes into dummy half. They get themselves set across to the left. They don't need to do anything fancy, and they don't. Craig Finnerty, he's brought down 2 metres out. Now across to the left they go again. Sam Mataora onto Aroha Tuinavai, puts a little kick in. It's been put to the ground by Sione. He's lost it backwards, and then he's lost it forward the second time with 2 minutes left on the clock. The referee spots the first one, says it's knocked back. Spots the second one, says it's knocked on. There might be time for the scrum to be packed. There might not. But what there will be, Sonny, is the Belconnen United Sharks winning not just their second game in 2 weeks, their second game since 2017.
And don't they deserve it? Don't they deserve it? What a courageous performance it's been from this Belconnen United Sharks side. They've been hit with injury. They had a sin bin go against them, but they've stuck strong. Got out to a massive 18-0 lead, 20-0 lead at one point. But they've just held on and shown great resolve in defence. We see them win the scrum feed here and almost go over.
Well, they've got 75 seconds left, and a try to Aroha Tuinavai would be, I think, the icing on the cake for this game this afternoon. But it may instead. Is that the man who went to the bin? Is that Sonny Tupuola?
It is.
Well, he's gone from the penthouse to the outhouse and back to the penthouse to wrap it up this afternoon. 24 points to 12 with a kick to come, and that'll be it. Oh, and don't they love it? Don't the Sharkies look absolutely wrapped? They've come here against their next-door neighbours. They've come to the neighbours' place and they've trashed the joint.
Wow. You know, we said at the start of the game, it doesn't matter where you are ladder-wise when you come into a derby game. Form goes out the window and emotion takes over. And every one of these players on the field in a Sharks jersey today has given 110%. Not to use standard football cliches, but that's what it's been today. They've come up against plenty of adversity. Players playing out of position, players being taken off the field injured. They've just come up with a tremendous performance. Got to give credit to Scotty Logan and his team for getting his side up for this game. This will be a game to remember. Maybe a game that, kickstarts their season. Consecutive wins and momentum's a funny thing in rugby league.
Well, it would be a hell of a fairy tale if they could launch a run off this. They might just go into a game next week as favourites. I don't know who they've got next week. We'll check the fixture in a minute. But Tavita Aroha Twinavai has 4 from 4, make it 5 from 5, 4 conversions and a penalty goal. And with that, he puts his side onto the victory dais for the second week in a row. And I am absolutely gobsmacked. I won't say I'm speechless because, well, I'm not, but I'm absolutely gobsmacked. And Sonny, I hope you're as stunned as I am at what has been a real turn up this afternoon. The Belconnen United Sharks beating the West Belconnen Warriors in a huge Bloomers Lawyers Canberra Raiders Cup upset, 26 points to 12.
Yeah, I mean, we started this game. You looked at this game on paper and you think it could only really go one way. Forms are, they took out Goulburn Workers Bulldogs last week, and you expected maybe this was the start of a run of form for the Belconnen Warriors. They had all the tough games out of the way, and you come up against an opposition you're expected to beat, but they just turned up to play. They turned up to play for one another, and they put in a tremendous performance.
They did indeed. And I'm just sitting here, I'm trying to think if there is, if there's anyone on that in that Belconnen United side who hasn't produced this afternoon. I think, just thinking back a couple of years, the New England Patriots in American football, they had a slogan, "Do your job." They came out, they did their job, they won the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that the Sharks are going to go through and win the championship from here, but they came out, they did their job this afternoon, and they beat their much fancied rivals.
Well, look, they've been leaking 35 points a game before today, and the number of times where they found themselves in two-on-one situations against them, the scramble defence, it's all about attitude, and their attitude was spot on.
Well, next week, what a game that'll be now. Saturday afternoon, the Belconnen United Sharks against the Queanbeyan Kangaroos at O'Connor Oval. The Kangaroos have not been the side of the maroon jerseys of the past. They'll fancy themselves next week, the Belconnen United Sharks. And the West Belconnen Warriors, well, they've got a tough one. They've got to go to Phillip District next week to take on the reigning premiers, the Woden Valley Rams. So, although again, that game... Oh, what a feast of footy next weekend.
That's a testament to how strong the competition has become.
Well, that's for sure. Other fixtures next week, if you are wondering, the Gungahlin Bulls host the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs, and the Queanbeyan Blues play the Tuggeranong Bushrangers Yask at the bye next week. But here this afternoon, after leading 18-0 at half-time, it's the Belconnen United Sharks who've picked up the victory against the West Belconnen Warriors. It was tries to Joe Vajota, Brandon Nangaiti, Matt Butts and Sonny Tupuola, and 5 from 5 with the boot to Tavita Aroha Twinavai for the West Belconnen Warriors. Tries to Brandon Withers, Tyler Peters and Brent Crisp. They mounted a late charge, but they were unable to complete the job this afternoon, and it's been the Sharkies over the Warriors, 26 points to 12. Sonny Singh, a pleasure to call some footy with you this afternoon, and a classic local rugby league match it's been. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. As with you, Chris. I'll see you next week.
On behalf of everyone involved with the Bloomers Lawyers Canberra Raiders Cup competition and all our friends at Bar TV, I hope you've enjoyed this game half as much as we have. Even if you enjoyed it as a quarter of as much as we have, you've had a blinder this afternoon. We've had a lot of fun here as well. Thank you for your company from Kipax on this Sunday afternoon.